Hey everybody, we're back and now we're just going to go ahead straight in and jump into the second part of the Q&A. So here we go. Following question is from La Taverna del Aventurero de Locren, which is the tavern of Locren the Adventurer in Spanish. Question: This modding can be used in patches after WoW 3.35. I mean, can I use this modification in WoW 5.48? The quickest answer to that is no, you can't. The longer answer to that is that yes, it is probably possible to port this so that it could work in 5.48. However, you will need a modder with that knowledge in order to do that for you, or you yourself learn how to do it. Unfortunately, I have no idea of how to work with anything outside of 3.35. So I hope that helps in some capacity. Following question is from O3Ricali. Wait, O theoretically. Sorry if I butchered that. Stromgarde always made me sad. I kept wondering how it looked before. It seemed to have been such a great city. Seeing how you rebuilt it, how it might have looked or could have looked again was great. Really special. Yeah, thanks a bunch for that comment. For me, it was one of those areas. I don't usually do restorations of like vanilla areas of the game because I like keeping the game as uh, close to the original experience as possible. So I always tend to, expand on areas that were blocked off or underdeveloped. Um, but yeah, that was one of the things that I always sort of in my mind. I was like, wouldn't it be great if this were restored? Wouldn't it be great if this was restored? And it's taken me a while to finally get to something that I'm really happy with, and I'm happy to say that I am happy with the latest version, and I'm happy that it's soon going to be available for people to download and have that with them. Following question is from New Fluids Inc. New Fluids Inc. Oh man, your projects always make my brain run wild with potential. I love to completely redo the zone that you could start in Stromgarde Human and do levels 1 to 20 before heading out somewhere else. Combine that with the High Elf area you made, and it'd be possible to completely retune Arathi Highlands into a new starting zone for humans and elves before funneling into Hillsbrad Foothills. I guess you'd have to redo Alterac Mountains to make it more robust of a zone to make up for losing the 30 to 40 quests in Arathi Highlands. Um, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I don't necessarily think that you have to lose all the quests in Arathi Highlands. I think that so I've thought about this, and I thought if there would be someone starting in my new version of uh, Stromgarde, if they were starting from there, what could you do? Well, I think the easiest thing would be to make a leveling experience from 1 to 10, um, just immediately around the city. So like the forests, I've opened up a path that's going to have some trolls, so that should be fun. So I am thinking about that. Um, so I don't think you have to retune the entire area. I think you just need to either expand and make quests in some of the nooks and crannies that I've opened up. And hopefully, yeah, you can have both a starting experience for like high elves and humans if you were to put that out there. And yes, it seems like Arathi Highlands has become the most heavily modded zone that I've been working in. So, thank you. Thank you. That's a good comment. Following one is from Anariel, and Anariel says it's a shame that you don't have access to HD. It's objects that are supposed to represent the ancient Caldari Empire rather than High Elves, which are less Greek and just a recolor of the Blood Elves. Okay, so I do tend to get some of these questions. Some people seem to be a little bit confused as to what I was doing with the High Elves zone. So There's a couple of things that I want to point out. First of all, in that, shame that you don't have access to the HD. I do have access to the HD. It's just I don't like modding in that style. I think, number one, it's a little bit beyond the amount of effort and work that I want. And also, I really like the vanilla slash Burning Crusade aesthetic. So most of my mods stick within those parameters, and that's what I like doing. It's not a question of not having access to some of those other things. As for the way that it looks, it's supposed to look like it's from the Caldera Empire because that's when it was built. And it's also important in lore to point out that the High Elves are essentially the descendants of the ruling class of the Caldera Empire. And the Blood Elves are the renaming of the same group of people, just like the Nightborn are exactly the same class of ruling magic wielding elves of the ancient Caldera Empire. Um, so I don't see a conflict there. These buildings were just like you have Caldera, ancient Caldera structures scattered across all of Azeroth. This was one such settlement that, in my own head canon, the High Elves found after they had already established themselves in Lordaeron and founded Quel'Thalas, and they just chose to appropriate these ancient ruins and use them as another one of their outposts. Um, Obviously, that all came crashing down when the calamity struck the High Elves. They got overrun. In my own headcanon, these ruins got overrun by trolls. And it's not until now when we talk about how do we create a space for a potential for the remnants of the High Elves that are still present in the Alliance. Well, this is a place where they had once occupied and that they now reoccupy. And so having this downtrodden group uh, of high elves who are a ruined, essentially, culture, in that they are no longer at the peak, having them occupy ancient ruins, to me is exactly what I want. I want these elves to make them more different than just saying they're a recolor of high elves of blood elves. It's elves that have kind of accepted that they're in the twilight of their society, and so they're clinging to the past, and it's just a beautiful area and a beautiful architecture to work with. And you can see the connections between some of these round pillared structures, and some of that in the Blood Elf architecture, and some of that in the Nightborn architecture as well. So it's all the same thing because, in essence, they're all the same people. All right, Horny Elf. Following question. This would be a great starting zone for high elves who decided to stay true to the Alliance and found a new home. This would be great for all of us who have been begging Blizzard for playable high elf faction. I really can't say thank you so much for making that comment, Horny Horny Elf. That's the idea. The idea is, where do we look when I started developing this area? Is like, where can I put? I'd like to put some high elves in the northern part of the Eastern Kingdoms, not so close to Quel'Thalas or the Plague Lands because it doesn't make quite sense. Somewhere a bit more neutral. So I thought, okay, well maybe the hinterlands where they already have a presence, and they're close to some other allies. But then I found some space in Arathi Highlands, and I decided to think, okay, great, we'll do it here. And what are the immediate threats that they're going to have? It's going to be these trolls that they will retake these ruins from. And yeah, it worked out great. I'm really happy with the area. Following question is from dear friend Braddock. Radek, love the looks of the Fortress City in general. The new models give it a very fresh look. The color palette is also outstanding. Keep it up. Thank you, Radek. Radek, who is, of course, a brilliant modder on his own. Yeah, I'm very happy with how it's coming along. I wasn't happy with it before. It's still a work in progress. There are things that I have in my head. I just haven't had time to apply it. But I think um, when I was starting to do my own version of Kultiris, I think I was biting off more than I could chew. I think concentrating on Southport will and the architecture in that little port will actually better prepare me to make some modifications in the larger Kultiran island. But yeah, I'm happy how it's going as well, and hopefully I'll be able to get to finish it sometime soon. Last comment that I'm going to address is from Hydraulic Hydra. I googled WoW modding and came to a video of yours from over a year ago. It makes me so happy that you're still going. I am of the perhaps misguided, since I haven't played WoW in a while, or there other games since they banned Blitzchung. The opinion that current Blizzard is going in the shitter. But still, I really love the universe they made, and I'm glad modding is a thing. Um, yeah, thank you, Hydraulic Hydra. I left your question as the very last one. Um, because I think it's something that I kind of agree with as well. I've been a fan of Blizzard for a while. I played you know a lot of their games, StarCraft, Warcraft, all from years and years and years ago. I remember Warcraft 1. I remember really getting into StarCraft when that came out. I was aware of Diablo, but I never really played it. I don't know why. It's one of those great games that I entirely missed. And I played the hell out of and modded the hell out of Warcraft 3, which is one of my favorite games of all times. That's how I got into modding, and there's still a lot of my mods are still floating in the internet ether. Um, but yes, so I agree that I'm not very happy with the route that uh, Blizzard is going. They've had a lot of problems. It's very disappointing to hear all the issues that they've had internally, as well as the creative decisions that they've made. It's really made it quite hard to understand. I think their attitude that they're even taking in terms of like fans and their creative output, um, such as like the disclaimer and legal notices that they put into Warcraft 3 Reforged, essentially killing any type of modding community or initiative that could exist there. Downright to the directions and the creative direction of retail WoW, and how they just it just seemed to just constantly be spinning something new that alters everything in the past with every expansion. Um, yeah, and and added all the other unpleasant, disappointing behaviors that have surfaced or that have been spoken about. It actually did it did take a toll with me, because I really didn't know, or at least I didn't want to be thinking or talking about WoW or even modding while this was going on, just because I do have my group of friends, and of course a lot of us are not playing WoW anymore. But we're still invested, like you said. We still remember that, first of all, we came together because of these games, and that we play these games together as friends and as a community. And so we can't sort of just go ahead and abandon that. There's more of and with that also came this idea that modding is what we should do then, even more now than before. Because if um, if Blizzard and Blizzard Activision corporate, whatever you want, is making a game that we don't really care about, then maybe we should stick with the older versions of the game that we did like, and we can develop it into something that we do like or something that other people like, and really talk to the community and get them involved in the development. Which is why I think that when you have like really solid WoW modders that work with role playing servers or servers in general and help those communities make their dreams come true in terms of like the features or the development that they want, their idea of WoW, that's the best thing that we can do. So on that note, I will leave you all, and until next time, where you'll get to see more videos and stuff, I think. So take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.